Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso. I want to place myself in the brain of a person of 3,000 years ago. I want to explain the concept and the why of beheading, why this happens, and what the ancients believe about beheading, the gods, the stars, the beautiful, the weather, which to them they were gods, the clouds. I'm here in Arizona and we're going to have a nice storm, but to the ancients that was the spirit world, the clouds. And you can see all that, the birds, anything with wings is like manifestations of the gods. The air was the spirit world, from the word spiritus, Latin. That was the souls and the spirits embedded. They were manifestations of the gods. Everything was manifestation of the gods. And also every emotion was personified. Objects were personified. We have to keep that in mind. We have to connect all the dots to understand the why of the insanity today of ISIS. People that decapitate people. This is due to the psychosis, psychopathy of the HIV of the neural array, religious psychosis. Religious and mental illness like schizophrenia, temporal lobe epilepsy, and all that are one. It's one big disorder nobody seems to see. And I want to explain that today, why decapitation, the beheading. Ancient times was a manifestation of gods and sending the spirit into the afterlife. Now I will explain all that to you. Connecting the dots, placing my brain into an ancient person's mind. How they perceive the everything and thought over 2,000 years ago. Now, beheading has been recorded thousands of years ago. And normally when a person is beheaded, it is the best way to show the face of the criminal. See, or the impious individual that offended the gods or committed a crime. When you have armies going to attacking a place and defeating the kings, or the sacred kings, or priests, or commanders of the enemy, they actually cut their heads and put them on pikes. They beheaded them. And this is important to actually see. In ancient times, there was no such a thing as crucifixion, or placing somebody on a cross. That's a Christianity infected, Christ psychosis infected invention. It never happened. There is no evidence, archaeological evidence, the Romans crucified people. Zero. Everybody was put on pikes. The cross is a symbol of the sun god. And this is the epigraphy, ancient epigraphy shows it and proves what I say is a fact. Because I don't bullshit. I connect all the dots and then bring to you the truth. But see, if you don't connect the dots, connecting the various disciplines and put yourself in the shoes or the brain of an ancient person of 2,000 years ago, you will never understand what's going on. That's very important. All the gods have a face. They're anthropomorphic deities. You represent the sun with a face. The moon goddess is amazingly enough, because if you look at the moon, it resembles, you know, with all the geological features of the moon, it resembles like a face. That is always so. People saw, the ancients saw a face right in there. So all the planets have faces, and everything that was a god had a face. Janus, which is January, December and January, you know, the end of the year, you have Janus, which is the one that sees the two faces, that sees the back, the past, and then he sees the future. So it was a god. So all these gods have faces. Now when you cut the face, you cut the head. It's a very interesting act. One of the most important heads that they were cut is the head of the Medusa. That was a maiden created by Athena Parthenos, the goddess Athena. And you know the story of the Medusa. There were Perseus came around, and it was a demigod, and come around, and he was given this the shield and the sword and the sandals of Mercury with little wings that he can fly around. He ended up looking at the reflection and cutting the head of Medusa with the snakes. Well, what is a snake? A snake is equivalent to a penis, and it's also equivalent to the penis rays of the sun god that fertilized the earth. So the head of the Medusa was in itself the head of the sun god, that if you look at it, turns you into stone. Well, the equivalent of the whole myth is very obvious. Can you look at the sun? Go ahead. Look at the sun with no special glasses and just look at it and see what's going to happen. It's going to blind you. The god, the Apollo, Zeus, and the god of many names, which is our star that gave us life, is the sun god. And the sun god will blind you if you look at him. You see the connection. So you have to connect the dots. So a face is also a trophy of the conquered enemy. People don't understand that, they don't see it. And I go and I keep explaining to you where the ISIS cutting the head of the Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles on everybody comes from. It's all religious psychosis. It's theotardism, retardism in the brain because of God belief. This is what's happening. And actually makes people believe in all this stuff as if it was true. Religious psychosis beliefs of the 12th century, you know, of the 10th century, as if they were reality today in the 21st. That is a psychosis. And that's exactly what's happening today. But it's all thanks to Christianity, to Christ, psychosis and the Crusades. I'll get into that. But I'll continue. Something that is very important to realize is that when a person is infected with religious psychosis, in other words, when the religious psychosis is like a schizophrenia type disorder combined with many other delusions, they are accepted as true. It's like a little kid that is 5 years old that believes things are real. That all this, the fairy tales and characters are real. So the same thing with a person who is deeply religious, that is infected with religious psychosis, despite the education. So as you can see here, a person that is a Christ-psychotic going to church, and suddenly he realizes that that's not what he wants. It's not the true religion. So he starts believing that Islam is the true religion. Islam, psychosis. And in many cases, these people are very deluded, and they have a problem with the brain. They accept all this. They need the dopamine. They need the fairy tales to survive. As irrational they might be. There might be conspiracy theories. There might be ancient aliens, whatever. But a person that believes an initial God idea, that believes in, let's say, Christianity, which the United States is a Christianity-infected nation. You have millions of churches that spread that crap, that fantasy, and the weak brains accept it as reality. So in this case, you see that some of these Christians, these Christian men, they're very ignorant, and they start believing in Islam is true, and they are compelled to believe this as reality. And this is the reason you see this man that actually decapitated, cut the head off of this one of the employees on this in this company, in the workplace. He got fired from the job. He was trying because he was trying to convert everybody to Islam psychosis, and then you know, he got upset, and then of course with the ISIS and the promise of life after death. And see, these people don't care, because to them, they don't care if they get killed. That's what happens when you have belief. We have really deep belief. People kill themselves for their own delusions. They might be Christian, Hindu, Muslim, whatever. Like you see Jim Jones, 900 in Guyana killed. You see the lady that drowned her children, the people that go on a rampage killing people in a theater. Well, they know they're going to be killed and they don't care. In Boston, the same thing. I mean, if they get killed, they enjoy it because they're going to be in heaven. And that is what ISIS does. These people do not care. And it's not something new. It's something that happened thousands of years ago. The most important ones, believe it or not, it was a Christianity-infected sect called the Donatist Circumcilians of the late 4th century in northern Africa. Christianity infected after the disintegration of the Roman Empire. In the late 4th century, the Donatist Circumcilians, they believed that they wanted to be killed. They started attacking people, so people killed them because of Christ and because of all this. So this psychosis is ancient. But the problem is today, in this 21st century, when you see something like that happening, it is a really, it's a full-blown psychosis. It's like an HIV of the brain. It's a neural HIV. And this is what happening in ISIS today. These people do not care. I mean, if you can decapitate people and kill people and cut their heads off so you can feel good and offer them in sacrifice to Allah and all that, and you happen to be killed in the process, who cares? You're going to go to heaven with the virgins. And that's what happened to this guy that actually, he didn't get killed. He just cut in the head of the lady that he killed here in the United States. I think it happened in what, infected, Christianity-infected state. Oklahoma, I think it was. But anyway, that's what happened. And this is the reason of this psychosis, because in the moment that you believe one religion that is a psychosis, you believe in any faith psychosis. So that's what happened. So we have to keep that in mind. Religious beliefs are mental illness. It's a very dangerous psychopathy, and nobody seems to realize it. It spreads in churches. Churches keep people theotarded, and then they're infected with the God-belief disease, and they can switch and convert to any other religious psychosis. Fantasies. Very dangerous psychopathy.
Now came across this radicalized version of Islam, adopted it as his own, and report it to your boss, report it to your coworkers on the job, and that rage could have contributed to what we ultimately saw in the crime of the beheading.
Across this particular Facebook page, or that in fact...
And this is America. You have First Amendment rights. People put this stuff all the time, and the authorities...
Now, one must keep in mind that in ancient times, in Egypt, about 5,000 years ago, they had no idea what the brain was, that we had a brain. They had no idea. Everything was the heart, the soul, the spirit, which is air. It was... And the soul, there were three souls, the Ka, the Ba, and the Ak. They were all the heart. See, in the heart. That's the reason in Christianity, all this crap with all this new, you know, the religious psychosis everybody has. Everybody loves people with their heart. And everything is the heart. And the blessed heart, and the blessed, and the virgin heart, and the Jesus heart. That is crap. That's psychotic stupidity and deluded nonsense. It's people stuck in the past, have to completely ignorant of religious history and the psychosis of religion and the ancient history. So during mummification in Egypt, there were 70 days mummification. And also, the idea was that you take the heart and you leave it in the body for resurrection. So the brain was removed through the nose because they didn't want to have. They had to dry everything with natron salts to treat the body and do all these religious prayers and amulets and everything. But the heart has to be in there so the body can resurrect. And that's one of the reasons you see this Christian nonsense, mumbo jumbo, which is taking Christianity and all these religious psychoses have taken their beliefs from ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, and all this mumbo jumbo crap is all together, and that's what they got, their resurrection and the beliefs that they have today with the soul and the spirits and angels and demons and the rest of nonsense. But going back to the head. Now, so the head was very important to see what the person looked like, the leaders. So when you impale somebody, you cut their heads off, you put them on pikes, and you parade them all around to serve an example to anybody that's trying to attack you, the enemy. And that's what you do. You put the heads on it. Also, it was very important during the Roman times, the head of the emperor, which the emperor was a Jesus Christ, was a Moses, was the Son of God, the divine, a divos, divine entity. His face was used in his troops. The troops, all the Roman legions, a lot of them, the commanders and all that, they use a ceremonial mask. And in many cases, the mask represents the God emperor, the divine emperor. So the face was very, very important in all cultures. And remember, you cut the head off. You don't take a person and put him on a cross. This is ridiculous. You just treated them like a god, like everybody can see the god over there. No, that's bullshit. It just came from the tropaion erected when Julius Caesar, the Jesus Christ, was killed and his sacred blood spilled and his wax image was put in a nail to a tropaion so everybody can see him with his crown of thorns, which is the symbol of the sun god, the spikes of the sun god Apollo and Zeus. So that's what they get their crucifixion crap from, which is, there's no evidence, zero. But when you cut the heads, you put them on pikes and, to serve as an example to the enemy. Let's go back in time to the column of Trajan, the Jesus Christ divine Emperor Trajan around the year 100. Everything is documented in the column. Everything you can see, everything I'm telling you is here, is depicted in pictures, in pictograph, in all this war memorial. And you don't see any crucifixion symbol. They show you the way the people dress, the ceremonies, the religion, the way, the construction of things, the construction of cranes, and also decapitation. And you can see this, how the military tactics that they use. And see the heads are impaled over there because the enemy was, the heads were impaled so you can see the people there, you can see the enemy there. And you can see this is all recorded in here. So if you connect the dots and you know history and you can connect everything together, you can see what I'm telling you is exactly the truth. Exactly the truth. This is exactly what happened. The record is right there. And Trajan was one of the Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is a title. Archerios Megisters, divine savior. All the Roman emperors were divine gods, and there were temples constructed for them to worship them. After they died, they put, but see the heads in here. They're offered to God Trajan. Here is God Trajan, Jesus Christ Trajan. These are the heads of the enemy. They're offering in sacrifice. See, and this is what is done today. People don't realize it. This is like about 1900 years ago. And you can see the evidence is obvious. And these are sacrifices. You have the head, you cut them and offer them in sacrifice. You see the Nike, the victory symbol, which is an angel. And here you see a tropaion, which is like a cross structure with an empty armor, because the armor is inhabited by the spirit. That's the reason Muhammad, which is no evidence he existed, is never depicted with a face. It's without a face. It's a blank face. So you can see the ghost, the spirit of the god without a face. This is extremely important to depict gods without a face in the structure. You can put the face you want in it. And normally the face that you put in it was the face of the emperor that was used in mask. All these soldiers, many soldiers, and set in battle, they put a mask of the emperor, the divine emperor. The angel here is actually a representation. It's called a Nike. It's a figure that represents victory with wings. And this is what it is. And here you have an empty armor again, a tropaeum, a cross. Notice this, the symbolism is obvious if you know where to look. It's very, very important. Everything is symbolic. Every little piece of epigraphy here is symbolic. And here are the trophy, here are the spoils of war. You see the moon here that the Muslims use as the goddess moon, which is the name. You also see the star of Caesar. And it is very obvious. If you know where to look at connected dots, it's all right in here in the column of treasure in Roman epigraphy. Got one piece here. See this? The column of Trajan, the cast of the column of Trajan in the Museum della Civiltà Romana. This here is your tropaeum. That's where the cross symbol originated from. Islam, as so-called Judaism, originated from the religion of the Roman Empire. All these symbols are there. The Allah, the Solomon, and all that are just symbols of the Julius Caesar, the Christus, the sacrificed Christus. Everything mutates. Like they say in Latin, tempora mutantur nos mutamur in illis. Times change and we change with them. So the evidence is right here for all to see, if you know where to look. Check it out, look, study it, and you'll see what I'm telling you is the truth. Now, the face of the gods are extremely important. The human face, the face of the gods. You have two eyes, and you remember the hieroglyph symbol of Horus, the eye of Horus, is actually the sun and the moon. And they represent the two eyes of the gods, sun and the moon. And all the gods are hermaphrodite. All the gods were male and female. You never see in ancient times a god that is just a male, a goddess. No, they're both the same. They are hermaphrodite. Because we all have, it was puzzling to the ancients when a male had tits. And the ladies produce that milk, the liquid, to maintain the life of babies with the breast milk. And then they sew the male with the penis Christ, the penis is shooting the milk, the river of life, which was the liquid that the god Atum put into his mouth using his hand when he masturbated and injected his own semen and his spit the universe into existence, creating, having as a remain the Milky Way. So the semen and the breast milk were considered the same liquid, creation liquid. So the gods were male and female. All of them, even Buddha. Buddha is male in many manifestations, male and female, the same thing with all of them. It's just like that. Psychosis infected imbeciles after they took over the Roman Empire. They put crosses on sculptures. They cut the nose so the spirit could not enter the sculpture. They are barbarians. Another important thing of the gods, or the face of a god, the eyes, and of course the nose. That's what you get the spirit. The spirit. And then the mouth, that's what you speak. That's what you communicate. That you put all these prayers and everything to talk to the gods. So, and it happened everywhere in our cultures. If you killed your enemy, you dismember them, so he doesn't come back together and hunt you, like the Native Americans did that. The Navajos, they cut everybody to pieces. They did that to Custer. They cut his head off and everything. Everything is spread everything around so they don't assemble everything back together. The same thing happens in Judaism. The the golem, I believe. It's called the yokum or the monster that is all put together in mud and it's going to hunt people. I forgot the name of it. But it's all this mythology. It had the same thing. You destroy something and they put it back together and you kill people. The Romans and many others, well, the Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles who took over the Roman Empire, they saw the sculptures were demonic. So they defaced them and they chopped their nose off. See, the nose is what you get the spirit world. So if you have a sculpture of a god or of anyone that you want to destroy so you don't breathe in the afterlife, you chop the nose off. That is the reason all the sculptures, all Roman sculptures, all no nose, no nose or no penis. And they chop their balls and they chop the penis and they chop. So they don't want it to speak. They just chop them off. But it's marble sculpture, so it's easier to chop the nose off. So, and then they have to put it back together, the archaeologists. That's the reason you find all these sculptures that are okay in Herculaneum. And in Pompeii and all that sculpture, you see all the gods, they are intact. So that's beautiful. But when the Christians took over, the Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles took over the Roman Empire, initiating the Dark Age of disintegration of the Roman Empire, destroying everything, imposing their distortion of history and their garbage education and all this destroying libraries and everything. They actually start cutting and chopping the sculptures of the beautiful works of art. They're all chopped off. The nose, they cut their nose off all the time, but they buried the sculptures. Some of them were lucky they were buried, but a lot of them were, and that's what happened. So it's important to see that. So decapitation, Christians started it. Christians started this decapitation thing, you know, much earlier to fight their enemies. And they began, that's like in the Roman Empire, put them in pikes, but actually they actually started cutting the heads off. They did that during the Crusades. And we'll get into that too. And pictures are everywhere. Illuminated manuscripts. Like the one of the Bishop of William of Tyre, 1130. And which is, it shows Muslims, their heads of Muslims and infidels and Jews and Orthodox Christians being catapulted during the siege of Jerusalem and the siege of Tyre, all these cities. They were catapulting the heads. They cut the heads off and put them, throw them over the wall. I mean, it's barbaric. And it's all Christian. It's all Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles. And this reality is taught by Islam scholars. They're taught to children in the Middle East. All of them, they're teaching about the barbarian of the Crusades, which actually truly happened. And Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles in the United States with all these stupid churches, I mean the most ignorant people in the world, they have that Bible crap and they paint the Christians like very merciful and nice and all that. No, they are missionaries, deluded, imbecile missionaries, pieces of shit that they go to places that don't belong, imposing their Christian crap to everybody, like the missionaries with Ebola. They go to Africa to convert people with the Christian churches. They get infected with Ebola because the morons don't know any science, which is science is produced by a mentally healthy brain, in other words, an atheist. And they go over there and they start dying. Well, they should, hey, be thankful if you die. If you have Ebola and you're a piece of shit Christian, enjoy it. Because you're going to go to heaven for all eternity. But they don't do that. There are hypocrite cowards that come to the United States. They take a serum that helps them. And helps and kills the Ebola virus. These are Christianity-infected hypocrites, deluded idiots for you, that destroy the brain of children in churches. That is the problem. But anyway, that's what happened in ancient times, in the Crusades, that the reason of the hate for the Muslims and all that against the Christianity-infected Crusades, the new Crusades, United States Army, with their stupid Bibles going around to places that don't belong. This is the problem. And this Islam teaches children about the Crusaders. But in the United States, they don't teach American kids history, and real facts. So this is the problem. That's the reason the United States is so authoritarian and so ignorant. The kids are so ignorant. They don't know anything. We are product of coitus our brains emerge blank. Blank, no information. When the brain malfunctions, you are sick or you have a problem, you start having these deluded thoughts, accepting bizarre mythological beliefs as if they were true. And bizarre mythological beliefs are at the core of all religions, no exception, and also at the core of many neurological disorders, including the many schizophrenias. So we are in the 21st century, we're not in the 12th. So anybody that believes in God and the hocus pocus and all this nonsense, they have a problem with their brain. And they ought to go to a neurological institution and get their brains, the neural array, fixed. Religious belief is, in my opinion, and everything points to that, as is the neural array HIV virus disorder that could make our species extinct if we don't address it and start mentioning that Christianity and religion is a mental illness and people should not be in control of government. They should be in mental institutions. Let's get rid of all the churches that rape the brain of children. And that's what mentally healthy, in other words, atheists, scientists and intellectuals ought to know. We're in the 21st century, not the 12th. Pace de Oro.